Hello and welcome. Today we're going to jump into one single, incredible year in the history of Azerbaijan, Iran, a time when everyday life was turned completely upside down. These aren't just what-if questions. For the people living in Azerbaijan back in the mid-1940s, this was their reality. These things actually happened. So let's dive right in. So, to really get a grip on what happened, we've got to rewind a bit back to the 1940s. World War II had created this really unique and, frankly, turbulent situation in Iran, especially up in the northern regions like Azerbaijan. Right, so in the middle of all that uncertainty, a new movement starts to gain some serious momentum, and it leads to the formation of the Azerbaijan People's Government in the autumn of 1945, or 1324 on the solar Hijri calendar. And this right here? This was the core idea from its leader, Siad Jafar Peshawari. The whole belief was pretty straightforward. Local people should be the ones managing their own affairs. Okay, so who were the key players here? Well, you had Peshawari leading the charge with the Azerbaijan Democratic Party, and they had backup, a new volunteer force known as the Fidai, which actually means devotees. These were just ordinary folks who joined the cause. All right, so there's a new government in town, but what did that actually mean for the daily lives of regular people, in the cities, out in the villages? Let's take a closer look. For a huge number of people, especially out in the countryside, the answer came down to the one thing that defined their entire existence: the land, the very ground they lived and worked on day in and day out. And this is a perfect example of one of their most significant policies: land reform. I mean, for generations, you had farmers working land they could never, ever hope to own. This new government completely flipped that on its head, distributing large estates directly to the peasants who farmed them. Now check this out. The change in education was just massive. The government officially brought in bilingual schooling. All of a sudden, children could learn in their own mother tongue, Azerbaijani Turkic, right alongside Persian. This was a huge cultural shift, and we know it's true from official agreements made at the time. And believe me, the changes didn't stop there. They established Tabriz University and even introduced new social rights, including, and this was remarkable for the time, giving women the right to vote. These were gigantic, progressive shifts happening in a super short period of time. Okay, so you've got all these massive changes happening in just 1 year, which leads to the million-dollar question, right? Why did it all end so fast? And to answer that, well, you have to dig into some really complex historical evidence. And that's where the real work of historians comes in. Researchers like Dr. Younes spend years, literally years, poring over old documents, letters, photos, all to piece together the full story of exactly what happened and why. And just as quickly as it all began, it came to an end. The fall of this one-year government was as rapid as its rise. So after months of negotiations with the central government down in Tehran, the National Army entered Azerbaijan in December of 1946. And according to historical records, the People's Government was then dissolved, apparently without any resistance. And here's what's so fascinating. Even though the government itself was gone, the ideas, the changes it had made, they really stuck around. They left a huge impression. And it wasn't just local people who noticed. Even foreign journalists at the time were writing about it. This single year in history, it doesn't give us simple answers. Not at all. Instead, it leaves us with some really big, important questions to chew on. Yeah, like what does it really mean for a community to have control over its own local affairs? Things like schools? Things like who owns the land? It's a huge question. And it's such a powerful reminder that history isn't just a list of leaders and dates in a textbook. It's about how the lives of real people, of ordinary families and their children, are changed forever by these massive events. And exploring these kinds of questions is exactly why studying history is so important. It helps us make sense of the past and the present. And of course, this whole explainer was based on the incredible, detailed research of Dr. Younes. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer. We're definitely going to continue these discussions in future videos, so if you found this useful, we'd love it if you'd share it with your friends and support us by subscribing to the Terex for Shahset channel.